Yo guys, what is up? Max on Borderlands 3 video, and today we're bringing back Chaos Queen, my most popular Amara build of all time. Amara's received some pretty hefty changes and even some nerfs that have made me adjust this build and use new pieces of gear and new mechanics to get it being stronger than it's ever been. I'm really excited to share it with you guys. This build mows down enemies, but real quick, before we get into it, for all your other mowing needs, you should be using Manscaped. If you've been following this channel for a while, you'll know that I'm a huge fan of Manscaped and their products. They wanted me to read out their patch notes where they buffed the Lawnmower 3.0 by 1000% and renamed it the Lawnmower 4.0. The Lawnmower 4.0 is available now. It is a waterproof cordless trimmer that has advanced ceramic blades with skin-safe technology that help you reduce nicks and cuts and can be easily replaced. My favorite feature of the 4.0 has to be its new travel lock. It's always awkward when you're traveling and something starts buzzing in your bag and you don't know what it is. The new travel lock prevents the lawnmower from turning on when you're traveling, and its new LED is extra bright to allow you to navigate those dark places. The Manscaped Lawnmower 4.0 is available now. If you use code Moxsy, you get 20% off plus free international shipping at manscaped.com. Check the description. Thanks again to Manscaped for sponsoring this video. Now let's get into it. And we're going to start talking about Ties That Bind, a new mechanic with it, and then we'll get into the equipment and the skill tree. So, Ties That Bind has been changed on Amara. It used to pass through all types of damage. Remember, we were using crazy action skill damage. You were using Novas through Ties That Bind. It doesn't work quite like that anymore. However, there is a new interaction with Ties That Bind that we're taking advantage of that I haven't showed off in a video before, and that has to do with the Revolter. Now, you guys probably know all about the Revolter already. It is crazy strong. I've been using it on a ton of builds. It's going to give you, when you're shock and rage, 200% extra shock damage. However, there is an interaction with the Revolter that is unique to Amara, and that is through Ties That Bind. When you pass damage through Ties That Bind with the Revolter, you get extra bonus passive scaling on top of all of the damage you're already doing of a times 5.5 multiplier. Trying to keep it simple. When you shoot through Ties That Bind with the Revolter, not only are you going to get that 200% shock damage, but the damage that is passed to the next enemy is getting a 5.5 damage multiplier that is unique to only the Revolter. URAD gets it as well, but URAD and the Revolter get this damage multiplier. And when we're using strong weapons with this build, the damage that you're going to do through Ties That Bind is absolutely ridiculous and is why the Revolter is so important here. Ties That Bind is strong without it, but it is crazy strong with the Revolter. Now, this allows us to use new weapons and try new things with it, and the main weapon that I'm going to be showcasing today is the Rowan's Call. This is a build that can use any weapon. I designed this build to use any weapon, but I like trying new things, showing off new weapons, because I like keeping things fresh. I've been making this build a few times now, so I like highlighting new things, and the Rowan's Call is going to be the main weapon that we highlight for Chaos Queen, because when this game first launched, it was one of the main S-tier weapons that Berserker Amara players used, and it is back to its original glory, if not way stronger than it used to be. Now it can do bossing and mobbing, and when you pair this thing with the Revolter and the fact that it ricochets plus indiscriminate, plus you're getting bullets back so you don't have to reload, makes this one of the strongest, if not the best option you could be using on Amara when mobbing. It is crazy, and we're changing some things around our build for the Rowan's Call, but the Rowan's Call from Slaughter Star 3000 is a must-have for this build. It's so good. The other weapons that you can use, the Butcher, the Unkempt Herald is now one of our new bossing weapons, the Kick Charger, the Backburner, the Khaosin, the Smog, the Torrent, Prompt Critical, the Free Radical, the Plasma Coil. There's so many good weapon options right now in Borderlands 3, so honestly use what you want, but I will be highlighting the Rowan's Call. Now, the best anoints for this build are next 2 mags, consecutive hits, and for bossing, I like 250 phase cast. 250 phase cast for bossing. For most weapons, I like rocking next 2 mags or consecutive hits. Consecutive hits on this Amara setup is really strong. Consecutive hits goes up to 200% gun damage, and Amara needs all the gun damage help that she can get. Next up, we're using a Berserker as our class mod. This is just simply the best class mod you can pair with Ties That Bind, and with the recent Amara class mod nerfs, the Berserker is just the best thing that we can be used for mobbing. It's going to give us that precious cooldown that we need. It's going to give us those extra rush stacks and weapon damage. I'm using one with splash damage and weapon damage. You could use whatever one you want. And for my artifact, I'm using a Pearl of Ineffable Knowledge. I like using the Pearl still. The Company Man is amazing. And for example, if I'm rocking these Rowan's Calls, I'll put on a Company Man. But I like switching around weapons on Amara. I like mixing things up. So if you really just want to use like Jacob's weapons, do that. It does kind of annoy me when I like switch to my Herald, for example, and I forget to take off my Company Man, and then I feel like I'm missing out on damage. So just using the Pearl is just really easy. It's the easy way out. But Company Mans and Pearls are my 2 favorite artifacts. Your grenade can be anything you want as long as you got an ASE on it. Now let's talk about the skill tree. So showing on screen right now is the skill tree, and there's probably a few things that you're going to notice right away. Let me explain myself. The first thing I'd like to explain is why I didn't spec Heavy Rain. Heavy Rain is genuinely one of my favorite skills on Amara. I love it. The projectile speed is so good. The splash damage is so good, and you should absolutely use it if you're using any splash weapons, except for the Unkempt Herald. I really have been enjoying the Unkempt Herald. I think it is a 10 out of 10 weapon right now. However, Heavy Rain really hurts it. It really does, because the Unkempt Herald has a split distance, where at a certain distance, its projectiles will multiply. You're going to get more than double your damage when those projectiles split, and this projectile speed from Heavy Rain hurts it because it travels way further before it splits. I found that on my boss kills and my damage kills, I had to go ridiculously far away from enemies to have Heavy Rain not mess up with getting all my projectiles happen. For things like Wotan, for Trant, for Grave Ward, for Hemovorus, anything that you like can't really, or there's not too much space between you, having Heavy Rain really hurt my damage when I was using the Herald, and so that is why I did not spec it. If you do not plan on using the Unkempt Herald, you should, or if you're not planning on using the Unkempt Herald, spec into Heavy Rain. If you do plan on using the Herald, I don't think it's worth it just because of that distance requirement. Next up, let's talk about our other skill trees. Red Tree. So because some of the best weapons in the game right now, especially the Rowan's Call, is not coming in all elements, infusion is more important than ever. Even the Plasma Coil, the Free Radical, 2 really ridiculously strong weapons, do not come in all elements. And so I'm making the change to 5 out of 5 infusion, having a Rowan's Call and being able to put it against Corrosive for Wotan, or being able to set it to fire for whatever. Just having that flexibility has been so nice. The one thing that you do need to know is infusion, the percentage or the portion of the damage that is converted does not get the splash damage bonuses. So you can hurt your damage using splash damage weapons, but I haven't really noticed it too much because we're already doing so much damage. If you link through something through Ties That Bind, it genuinely won't really matter about losing that percentage of splash damage or bonus. Tempest, no brainer. Steady Hands, no brainer. We don't need Anima. This status effect, damage and duration, has been nice. I've used it a lot in the past. It accounts for more of my deaths than I would like to admit for, and for that reason, I've spec'd out of Anima. Having points in here isn't going to hurt you too much, but I just didn't really need it because things are just dying so quickly. Wildfire, Dread, Deep Well, Amara gains increased magazine size with elemental weapons, has been really nice. That's good. Catharsis, you don't need this. It has a chance of killing you. It's a cool effect, helps with mobbing, so I keep it. But you should be careful when using it. Indiscriminate, Sustainment, Conflux is what we're taking extra points in now. You want to reach Forceful Expression, right? And you could put these points anywhere. You could put them more into Wildfire. You could put them more into Anima. Conflux, I think, is actually a pretty good place to put them, just because it's the only one that's going to directly translate to more damage for you because of Harmageddon. Enemies take 5% more damage per unique status effect affecting them. The fact that Harmageddon can lead, or Conflicts can lead to more stacks of Harmageddon, lead to more damage to you, and help out Amara. And then lastly, Forceful Expression with using non-splash weapons. Forceful Expression, and even with splash weapons, Forceful Expression is just nice. It's a little bit of damage. I think this capstone needs a big buff. The fact that Short Fuse is as strong as it is, and Forceful Expression is as weak as it is, just doesn't seem fair to me. But I hope they do buff this skill. It's still a worthwhile pickup, though. Next up, Blue Tree. So our Ties That Bind damage is ridiculous because of this Revolter interaction. Because of that, you do not need any points in to do harm. Like, you need 1 point for the rush stacks, but you do not need any more than 1 point. It's just kind of a waste, honestly. You'll one phase, one tap anything just if you link them with ties that bind. Next up, fast hands, reload speed, weapon swap speed. This skill is so much fun. It's really, really good to have. Violent Tapestry, Transcend, one of Amara's best skills that she has in any of her trees for that extra crit damage. Because we're using a Rowan's Call, this translates even better because we've got the accuracy and we're going to get rewarded from the mechanics of this weapon for hitting critical hits, but we're also going to do so much more damage. Transcend is great for this. Restless, more cooldown rate. Amara really needs cooldown. Alacrity, reload speed. I wish I could have 5 out of 5 in here. I love Alacrity. With Phase Zerker, it synergizes really well to get that reload speed. We don't need it too much because we'll be killing things with ties, and that'll reload our weapon with Dread. Laid Bear, damage increase. Wrath, more gun damage from Rest. Now, I'm not using many Malawan weapons right now. You could use a Free Radical or a Plasma Coil with this and benefit from that charge speed. That's really nice. However, we're Amara. We need every little DPS increase that we can get, and this little fire rate bonus from Rest is just worthwhile. Remnant is great for those like crazy overkill damage kills, and then Avatar, more damage, more rush stacks, double you know what it is, double ties that bind. And then lastly, Green Tree, personal space, clarity, and arms deal. The reason I spec clarity, I usually go root to rise. The reason I spec clarity is if the times that I find myself going down on this build, if I ever do go down, is when I'm reloading. That is because I just like am reloading and I can't deal the damage that I'm dealing to keep me above that health gate. Having clarity, just a little bit of extra points into it, gives you that little bit of passive regen while you're reloading to maybe get you above that health gate. And then arms deal for splash damage, damage reduction, a little bit of survivability, and a little bit more extra damage. And guys, that is going to be it for the build video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you again to Manscaped for sponsoring this video. And I will catch y'all on the next one, guys. Take care. Peace.